Welcome back to the Level Up climbing series. I'm Marcus, a not-so-great climber from Vancouver, Canada, who's hoping to get a little bit better through this series through analysis and an increased motivation for climbing. As you saw in the beginning, today we're climbing at the Hive Port Coquitlam. This is a gym that I have not climbed in for pretty much a year now, so everything was completely new to me, completely different gym from what I'm used to. And I was just excited to have a lot of new climbs to try. Starting off was this purple 3 hex. I thought it was going to be pretty straightforward, and for the first little bit I was trying to just get a heel hook and press on the in-cut side of that volume. But eventually I saw my brother do it and he went for the pinch there, and that made it a lot easier. This next move was definitely a little tricky. I'm not used to these kinds of volumes, and trying to figure out where to place the feet was definitely a little bit challenging. In addition to that, my hands were extra sweaty today. I'm not quite sure what it was, but this whole week my hands were super sweaty. Maybe I'll throw in a clip later on, but I just found like I wasn't really getting all that much friction. And just in general, I felt like this session was going to be not so great. But yeah, on this next go, I focused on getting that foot up, placing it on that in-cut section here. I tried with my left foot first, but I realized the right is a little bit better. And from there, after the foot swap, it's pretty straightforward. I did have to find this higher foot here, and as some of you may know, these high feet is something that has been quite challenging for me pretty often. So even though this was a 3 hex, I was pretty happy to actually get this. That said, I was also a little disappointed because I thought I was going to flash that, and I thought it was going to be a lot easier. So I guess in a way I was pleasantly surprised that it was a challenge. This purple 3 hex, on the other hand, was pretty straightforward, and don't really feel like I learned too much from it. But again, this was still kind of in that warm-up territory, so just trying to check out the gym, try and find some new climbs, see how I'm feeling. Same for this yellow 3 hex. It was pretty straightforward. Just trying to find that flow and try and get into the rhythm of things. Something pretty neat about the Hive Poco is they started a comp wall section. So if you notice, all these climbs have the red tape for the start as well as a red tape for the finish. And these were all ungraded when I did them. So not entirely sure how difficult they were, but this is what I would grade them after having climbed them. This V2, pretty much it was mostly just that first big move, which I was able to stick pretty easily. So from there, it was pretty straightforward. This yellow comp climb, I think is probably around V4. I think it was pretty challenging, as well as, or particularly because of these pockets. And as you'll see on this next move, it's quite tricky. I saw quite a lot of people falling on it, and trying to figure out what to do here. I go for the right hand, and it's really hard to hold that, especially with like the crossed arms. So on this next go, I try and go for a match and see if I can make this work. Originally, I thought maybe I could place my right foot where my right hand is or something, and so that I could go across to the finish, but that really didn't work in the position I was in. So on this next go, I tried to go a whole lot more dynamically. Instead of trying to hold the next position, I just flow into the next move here. And so I was happy to be able to stick that. I definitely think a lot of the elimination drills that I had done previously was very helpful for that. Just being in control of my momentum and flowing from hold to hold. This pink comp climb I thought was really difficult. Originally I thought, looking at it, I thought it was going to be maybe, it was really hard to read. Anywhere between a 3 hex and a 5 hex. I think this was probably a tough 4. So that's why I give it probably a V6 really. maybe a V5. But yeah, I didn't see too many people send it. I was struggling a lot with this first move. On that attempt, I tried to do it a little bit more statically. And yeah, here I'm trying to stick the foot on the far left, but it just doesn't work. I kind of complained that I'm too short. So after trying to do it statically like that, I decided I'd try and go a little bit more dynamically. My plan here is to try and stick the left hand and then switch the feet. So ideally I stick it, and then my right foot goes where my left foot is, my left foot goes out. And again, this is something that elimination has definitely taught me, but just was not coming to me today. I'm not sure, maybe it's because I'm holding the bottom there, and I need to aim higher up, but this move just felt very, very difficult. I really want to be able to stick this first move, and as you can see, I'm actually getting a little bit closer there. I think that attempt was pretty good, where my left foot actually comes out, but most of the time I'm getting the right foot there and just unable to move the left. But yeah, even that attempt was pretty decent. But yeah, I decided to move on to this other comp climb, V3. I saw quite a lot of people falling off this one too, making me think that it was probably slopier than I imagined, but honestly it was pretty straightforward and not too bad. I was feeling warm enough that I finally hopped onto a couple 4-hexes. So this purple 4-hex I was pretty happy with. None of the holds were too bad, and I think it was mostly about body positioning. I will say though, I do think it was a little bit soft. I think the main thing going through my head while climbing this was just focusing on actually trying hard and being in control, and also just trying to activate my brain. I think that was when I was like, okay, we're out of warm-up, we gotta start trying hard. So that gets me to this orange 4-hex, and this next move was brutal. It is just so far to the right, I could not figure out what to do. And there's no real hold here on the left. You're just pinching the ends of these two volumes. And so it's just not amazing. And on this last go, I just tried to just commit to the finish hold, or that next hold, but I ended up giving up there. I moved to this orange 3-hex just because I saw it was a cool looking dyno. And I was pretty happy to hit this first try. It just shows that I'm still being fairly dynamic. And now this purple 4-hex was one that's pretty crimpy. The handholds themselves actually were not too bad, but this next move felt so ridiculously far. And so a big theme for this episode is what I call integration by parts. And so essentially the whole focus is trying to do the tough moves that I couldn't do before. So I'm not actually starting from the start here. I wanted to see if I could just make this single move right here. And so I switched to a toe, and I actually touched the hold, and I realized, oh, I think I can actually get this. So I told myself I'd give this one more try. There's just so many more climbs to do that I didn't want to waste all my time on it, and I managed to stick it. And this was a crazy moment for me because the moment I stuck it, I almost peeled off, and I just felt my adrenaline pulse. And you can just see I'm focusing on my breathing. I'm trying really, really hard. I think out of all the climbs, this is one that I was really proud of. I am in full tryhard mode, and I think I mentioned in the last episode, sometimes I'm a little bit scared of falling, but here I had one goal and one goal only, and it was to get myself to the top. So I was definitely trying at 100%, and it felt really good to be able to like clinch that out and get the set. I really think that if I wasn't in that right mindset and wasn't going 100%, I would have fallen almost guaranteed. So it's just really nice being able to kind of turn on that switch and kind of hit that flow state every once in a while. This purple 3 hex after was something pretty simple. It was a little tricky towards the end here. I think, again, as a slightly smaller climber, this finish felt just a little far, as you can see. So I had to make sure to adjust the right hand one higher. Honestly, again, not that tricky, it just was an extra step that I didn't foresee originally. This pink 4 hex, on the other hand, was another one that was kind of crazy to me. Slab is, again, not usually my forte, but I looked at this one and felt like I could do it, and it was pretty interesting because I actually felt very balanced throughout the entire climb. So here I'm just using the volume, and I'm struggling for a little bit here to find that foot swap, and I realized I should be pressing on the foothold there. The other thing too is this is just a very, very long climb. It's honestly a few moves, but slab is always just a pretty slow, methodical style. And so I'm really focused on being balanced, really taking my time with all of this. So again, we're going for a little press foot swap. And I realized my hand was on the foothold, so the only way I could get my foot up was actually just placing it straight on the volume. And even if the foothold was free, I actually don't think my hip flexor flexibility would have allowed me to do it. So I have my foot pretty far left here, and again, this is what I was saying, I actually feel really stable on here. I almost even questioned if I could do it without my hands. But this last move, there is nothing, and I mean nothing on that finish hold. It is essentially just a screw-on, really bad foot chip. And I thought I could just press and press against it at first, but I realized, no, I almost certainly need my foot up here. And if you've been following for a while, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I do not have the greatest hip flexor mobility, and I feel so close, but I just can't get that foot up there. So I spent quite a bit of time here trying to sort out my feet, trying to figure out, do I move my left foot further left? Do I move it further right? What do I do here? And slowly I end up moving my left foot to the foothold, and I still have nothing. In fact, I think this made it significantly harder for me. So I kind of call it quits there, and I thought I'd try it again on my next go. This one I did not integrate by parts. I climbed all the way from the start. And on this go, again, I just feel so stable up there. It's just a matter of, can I get my right foot up? So I'm placing my right foot, and I'm still so far away. So here again, I try and place my foot on the foot chip, and this time I try and twist my hips to the left. Oh, maybe I didn't. I thought I twisted my hips to the left to see, if I can get kind of like a drop knee going. But in the position I was in, I think that was my original goal, but I thought there was no shot I could do that. So I go back to the further foothold, and I'm again going for this just high foot. To me, I'm so certain that the beta is for this higher right foot, but I'm not even close. And you see me bringing my left hand down because I kind of want to try and grab the foot, but it just doesn't feel like it's gonna work. So I just kind of keep struggling here for a bit, and eventually I call it quits. Oh yeah, here here I was trying to see if I could like stick it without the hand. As I said, I just felt so stable, which is so weird for me on slab. But yeah, I end up bailing, and I try to figure out if there's a way that drop knee would have worked, and it really wouldn't have. So I'm again just trying this top section, trying to see if there's anything I can do here, and really it feels like nothing is working for me, even with the handhold there at the top. So we come down, and my friend Chris actually says, instead of looking to grab the foot, trying to see if I can grab my knee. Start small. So here I'm trying to grab my knee, and it's not quite working, but that makes me realize that my whole position just doesn't even let me open up and grab the knee. So here I feel like I can grab it, but I can't pull on it. And so it just makes me realize that I need to somehow shift my position. And as you can see, I start shifting my right hand way over towards the edge of the volume there. And from here, I can actually grab the foot. And I couldn't believe that this worked. But grabbing the foot, even just saving that there as my foot kind of released. And again, that just shows how stable I was up there. But yeah, being able to grab the foot and stick it on the volume, I thought was so funny, and I was so happy to be able to get this. I was just really psyched about that. Oh, this pink 4-hex had me super psyched too. This is literally second try, boom. Like, being able to stand on the starting hold and stop myself like that felt so sick. And even I didn't think I was going to get that second try, but it felt so good. And again, I just feel like I've been so much better at dynamic moves. So I was really, really happy about that. This black climb was, for context, there was, I think, 5 minutes left maybe 10 minutes left when the gym was closing, before the gym closed. So I knew this was going to be the last climb of my session. And so it's this nice little move over. There's no handholds in the middle, but the feet are pretty good. And it's weird because to me, that move almost feels my style. And I stick the foot there, and I totally forget that I need to grab the handhold. So on this attempt, I knew I could get it. I just had to focus on the handhold as well. I literally thought I could just stick it without the hand at first. I just wasn't even thinking about it. I was so focused on the feet. But yeah, since the gym was closing, I didn't chalk up before this attempt, and I realized my hands are so sweaty. As I said, my hands were just extra sweaty today. So my friend Chris gives me some chalk, which again I think is just kind of funny. Chalk up mid climb. But from there it was pretty straightforward. I think this last move was just a little bit of a committal move, and we catch it. So I was really happy with that whole session. I think I got 5 or 6 4-hexes, and I felt like I was getting climbs that felt like rewarding. Continuing on with the good vibes, we moved to Surrey on my next session, and I didn't think this was going to be a great session. I was out pretty late the night before, and I was feeling super tired today. But it was almost like I knew I was going to have a good session, because I had told my brother, like, for some reason, I just feel like I'm going to have a good session. Usually on the days I'm the most tired are some of actually my best days. So that ping 4 I was pretty happy to get. It was a little bit softer, but I do think that first move was pretty tough. And this yellow 4-hex I thought was very tough. You're going up into a sloper. You can't really tell, but that's a sloper hold. And my whole focus here was, again, to integrate by parts. So I'm skipping the start. I'm just focusing on going move by move. So from there, I can make the dyno to that left sloper. So that's what I'm focusing on here. Can I hit that? It feels quite far. I give it another couple tries. And here I managed to actually stick it. But now I can't figure out, do I bring the heel up? What exactly am I supposed to do? So again, we climb up to that part and we're just trying to figure out what's the next move. And I think this was such a key aspect to this session. And something I've been talking about for a while is that I need to care a lot less about the send and more about learning new moves. So here, I decide that I think I can match the hold. And after matching it, I was like, okay, I think I'm past the hard part. I can put it all together. So, yeah, I'm just putting it all together here into the dyno, going into the match, heel hook, and just this thumb press. The moment I grabbed that right hand, I knew that this was gonna go. Just had to fix that right foot, bring the left foot up, and it's a pretty solid finish. So this was already great vibes for me. I was really happy to have gone that. And I had 2 4-hexes pretty much right by the beginning of my session. This purple 4-hex was pretty tough. Originally, I was trying to dyno right here by the start, and it was just so far. It didn't make any sense until I realized I was giving beta to start further to the right. And this is, interestingly enough, I almost don't think I ever would have tried this. Who knows though? Like, I really don't know since I didn't try. But I'm so curious if I would have tried starting with this right hold if I wasn't given beta. But here I'm focusing. I realized I've been missing the left hand a lot more. And originally I was going to try and focus on the left more, but here I decided I'm just going to focus fully on the right. Yep, and the left hand will follow, and I managed to catch that. And the rest of it was pretty simple. I think that this was a pretty solid 4. I had a lot of fun on this one. It was definitely a straightforward but a little tricky dyno. Again, integrating by parts, this black 4-hex, I had been stuck on this last move for quite a while. So I was trying to figure out how this last move works. And it was just pretty tough. But I realized there's no point doing it from the start if I can't do the finish. So here, once I have the 2 handholds there, I need to get the right foot there, left foot on that volume, and just pull my way into this press. So with that done, I decided that I had to get this black. This was the last session that it was going to be up. So if you'd been following the last couple episodes, I swing the right foot onto that hold, twist the hips so that I can get onto this undercling, and from there it's quite a few crimps. And this whole climb's just definitely a little tricky. Here I fall out there because I'm going for this high foot. But one focus here was to swing the foot actually as much as I could instead of stopping the swing, trying to swing it so that it hits against the wall. And here I screw up the beta because I moved the feet up before moving the arms up. So here I catch it and it's left arm up. Yep. I need to stick this right foot, and I actually swing into the move, and it felt so much easier opposed to doing it more statically. And I managed to get the send. So another climb that I was just really happy about. I had been projecting this for maybe 3 previous sessions and wasn't able to get it. But again, as I said, the theme for today was integrating by parts. And I think just by doing that last part and putting it all together, I was able to get it done. Sorry, that yellow 4-hex was also something I had been projecting for a while, and I think I had tried that last move. I thought it was impossible, so I decided it wasn't even worth doing it from the start, because what is that? This brings me to the other interesting thing. So Surrey also has had a comp wall, and they actually just had a setting clinic where their whole thing was about creativity and trying to set with different holds from what they usually use. So here they're using kind of these wooden holds, the hangboard, kind of like wooden hangboard holds on these pink ones, and I thought it was really interesting. And this one was really cool too. So as you can see, the starting hold is a basketball. It's a little hard to see, but the starting foot is a basketball, but the starting hands is actually a golf ball. There's a pair of footballs around the corner. As you can see on the far right, there's a soccer ball hold, and you'll see later the finish hold is a basketball. But yeah, this was another climb that I was pretty psyched about. I thought it looked super cool. You have to do this rock over onto the football holds, and this again was surprisingly trickier than I thought. I feel like watching it even, it looks pretty straightforward, but trying to figure out a balance between being balanced and generating enough momentum and power was pretty tricky. So here, again, just gotta bring that right foot up, and you can't even see the football holds until you make it around the corner. But on that last attempt, I felt pretty decent. Keeping on the theme of integrating my parts, I don't even bother touching the star hold anymore until I'm more confident on this climb. And that one, I felt a whole lot better. And as you can see, watch me load left. I'm loading left so that I can go right. And I'm trying to generate as much power as I can. And on those last two attempts, I actually felt pretty good, so I thought it was worth trying to start here. And my main mental focus is actually to generate as much power going right and just trusting that I'll catch it. There's no need to think about dead pointing or being static at the top, because naturally I will be, and I managed to stick it. And from there, it was still a little bit challenging. For example, this foot swap there, I was happy to be able to catch that. I don't know if you could tell, but I thought I was going to fall off the wall, and I got the send. Following the idea of weird holds, you can see this hold that I'm grabbing is two hands joined together, which I thought was kind of weird, kind of unique. I misread this one and thought that I could potentially grab it from the bottom, but I, again, am a shorter climber, and it doesn't work like that for me. So I try and fix my mistake, but my right foot is just placed so well on the hold that the swap feels way too difficult. So I kind of just bail out and just go for it next try. So I focus on keeping my right foot further right, and I switch the feet. And honestly, I thought this was pretty simple, so I'd give this probably a V3. This next climb is also probably a V3, but oh my gosh, it starts with a bat hang. Now, a lot of people will usually like cheat the start of a bat hang start, because you're not supposed to grab any holds besides the starting holds when starting. But so you kind of have to do this handstand against the wall and walk your feet up. And bat hangs are absolutely not my forte. I think so. Oh, I was just showing that this is how a lot of other people were trying to start, by grabbing this hold and then trying to get their hands at the start. But I wanted to do it the true bat hang way. But yeah, what I was gonna say is, if you've been following for a while, toe hooks have been a struggle for me. They're definitely a weaker point for me. And bat hangs in particular get me really disoriented. I just could not figure out what exactly, where I was going, what I'm supposed to do. And here I couldn't even figure out for quite a while where to place my toes. But eventually I try and place them quite a bit further left and put them in as far as possible. And so after starting here, I managed to make my way to do the top section. And I think this that method was kind of funny. Again, I just feel disoriented, and I wasn't sure how to grab that next hold, so I ended up cutting feet and everything, but I managed to make it work. again, my hands were so sweaty. I could not grab this hold, and especially off the bat hang, all my chalk was now on the mats because I was doing my handstand. So that should have been so simple, grabbing that jug, but I definitely struggled with it. So on this next go, I end up doing the same thing. It's the only way I can make it work, but at least it worked. I think the other main focus here, once grabbing this higher hold on the right, was to bring my right foot up around the wall when I can, and that just moves my center of mass further right. And my left foot kind of slides, but it's fine because it isn't as abrupt of a foot cut, and I end up getting that. So another good climb that I was really happy about. This orange 4 hex was another climb that I think was very my style. My friend, I think I've mentioned, thinks that these holds are always holds that I seem to do well on, and we always joked about it for a while, but I actually do kind of think she's maybe right. Usually these climbs I do quite well on. I have my feet up here and I just botched the left foot. I kind of missed the hold and I was just kind of upset about it. On this next go, I don't even bother going left. I just reach straight for it because I think unlike most people, I was able to fully extend and stand right up on that bottom hold. This black comp climb was, at a first glance, I thought this was going to be maybe V1, V2, but it was tough. They are quite slopey. There's only certain sections that really have much texture to them, and I couldn't quite figure out what the beta here was. As I reached for that next hold, I realized I really want to get that right foot up. So I look for this foothold, or another hold for my foot here, and eventually I find that. And for me, I assume the beta here is left hand there and right hand up here, because that's where there's kind of the pockets, but it feels impossible to not swing off the wall. I'm so curious if any viewers, without seeing like the future part, if they can guess what the beta here is. You can pause the video and just, I'm curious if you could just see it. But yeah, I couldn't figure out what to do. On this next attempt, I try, instead of having my feet behind me, I try and go a little bit more feet first. So I try and go for this higher left foot, but it feels terrible. So eventually I see one of my friends do it, and he puts his right foot on the wall. And I was like, that's so much smarter. And instead of using that left hand hold, he just presses. And it made this climb feel so much easier. It just really shows how much beta actually matters. And I was actually pretty happy to have gone this climb. Again, I think this was going to be at least a V4, so maybe like hard 3 hex or easy 4 hex, but I was just happy to have gone it after quite a few tries. This yellow 4 hex, again, towards the end of the session, I'm just feeling pretty tired, trying to figure out how to make that start, or yeah, do this first part. I try and go a little bit more dynamically, but that top part is quite pinchy, and it just doesn't feel right to me. Here I managed to stick the bottom, and I'm trying to work the feet, but it just doesn't seem to be working all that well for me. And yeah, I try and bump the left hand, but again, it's just a little too fat. But as I did on the first time, I had the toe hook on the start, and that made this feel a lot better. And still though, I couldn't figure out what this move was. I tried to do it almost like a dynamic Gaston, but that just felt wrong to me. And from here, I was just a little bit tired, so I decided to move on. The last thing I worked on was this yellow 5 hex. I tried it in a previous episode and was only able to stick the first move. At this point in the session, though, I want to just stick the first move, but spoiler alert, I actually don't make it. But overall, I was still really happy with my session. Again, I thought I got maybe 6 or so V4s or above. And I really do think that these last 2 good sessions were largely in part by doing that whole integration by parts. It just lets me be more confident with the moves. I get to try more moves and learn them, and I'm also a lot less fatigued, so that lets me get on more climbs, more sends, and it's just a better time.